We move away from the month of May and into the beginning of June. We are here on the streets of Detroit. We overlook both Canada and America. It's an absolutely fantastic circuit as well. And it's time for Sunday morning warm-up ahead of the race later on today. Absolutely brilliant conditions are ahead of us then. We really can't wait to see what we're going to have. It's pole position for Colton Herta. Bit of a surprise for everybody as well. Let's see how he's going to handle it throughout the day. But we cannot wait. It's going to be 100 laps later, and after a very dramatic race last time out as well for IMSA yesterday, we really are into the unknown as to what could happen. Everybody's on tenterhooks as well. Track's getting blocks left, right, and centre. It's going to be a lot of fun. To take you through the warm session as well, we're going to hand over to some of the best in the business, and that is those at INDYCAR Radio, who is trackside ready to go. So here it comes then. The warm session is green.
This is the MTT IndyCar Series. With live coverage of today's final warm-up, this is the IndyCar Radio Network.
Chevrolet Detroit Grand Prix, presented by Lear. Mark James, J.D. Hamilton, Ryan Marine, Michael Young, set to take you through the next 30 minutes. Final tune-up before we go racing. A little bit later on today, and Davey Hamilton, Mother Nature made an appearance overnight in the form of rainfall, and it started to subside about the time we arrived at the racetrack, and all in all, I think conditions look pretty good for this race day.
Yeah, it does. Actually, you're right. This morning, when the crews got here about 6 a.m., it was pouring rain, so it looks like it's gone and past us. Looks like it's going to be a little bit partly cloudy right now, but good news is the track is pretty dry right now. Let's put it this way, it's 90% dry. Most all areas that we're going to be running in are dry. Just have to be careful around a few areas, and mostly in turn one.
Specifics on the conditions, we'll do that when we welcome in Ryan Marine.
Hey, good morning, Mark. Good morning, Davey. It is overcast, that's for sure, but the precipitation, as Davey alluded to, has stopped. I'd say the pit lane, at least here on the cold side, it is still a little bit damp, but where the cars are actually pitted, it does look like it is mostly dry, and so that seems like it would be on par with what we've seen around the track so far today. 65-degree ambient temperatures. 69-degree track temperatures right now as well, as we see a couple cars go out on their out laps now, coming in for some pit stop practice in the streets of Detroit.
Normally a solid qualifier this season has been Felix Rosenquist. Michael Young joins us now, and he'll roll off on the outside of row number 11, but they have some work to do before they can start this session this morning, Michael.
Well, they just finished working on the issue. They had a pressure issue, and they were working with the coolant. They had the engine cowling off, but they think they have it fixed. They're going to do an installation lap, bring Felix back in, but clearly when we spoke to Felix yesterday, frustrated with that qualification effort. Obviously, Helio Castroneves in this weekend, replacing Tom Blomqvist. They're outside of that leader circle money, and they could use a couple of good finishes for both of these Meyer Shank Racing cars.
And Helio Castroneves will roll off the outside of row number 13. Another driver returning to the series after a bit longer layoff than Helio Castroneves, Davey, is Tristan Vautier in the Dale Coyne car. And oddly enough, Vautier and Castroneves starting side by side in row 13.
Yeah, right. It's good to see Christian back, and it's been a long time since he's been part of this game. You know, I mean, he's been sports car racing, but Tristan's been not in an IndyCar for quite a while. I think he's doing a good job. This is a difficult racetrack. We continue to say that. It's very rough. It's a matter of fact, just going down this front straightaway, there's so many things that get your attention. Even though it's just straight, you're dealing with bumps. And then you're looking for the markers to slow down where that corner is, because you can't see where that left-hander turn 3 is. You see stoplights. You see so many things, all the fences and the barriers and the banners, and it's really hard to see. So somebody that hasn't been here before, it's a challenge for sure.
The issue between the primaries and the alternates, a year ago, this race saw the most fall-off of any race of those alternate tires, and if you expect the same thing, the track with the second most fall off last year was St. Petersburg. But if we go back to St. Pete this year, we didn't see that much of a fall off, and I think that might be the case again this weekend.
Well, I kind of feel like when they put the tires on, the alternates on for that final practice on Friday, they really didn't gain very much speed, very, very little speed. And then, so it had to be pretty equal. So that tells me is that tire's strong. It's not that much softer than the primary. And I think it's going to last, the full stint pretty easy. This is a two-stop, pretty easy two-stopper, and they can have strategies within that two-stop, which could keep it interesting for us. But I think the primary is going to be the hot tire.
You would have to add probably 10 laps to the length of this event to change that strategy between the 2 and the 3.
Yeah, instead of 100, it would need to go to 115 would be really good, to be honest with you. And that would say, okay, we're on fuel save or we're on full getting after it and trying to, I don't think there's any way you can make it on 2. I think it'd be a wide open 3 at that point.
From what I understand, if you are pitted on the right side of pit road, you're going to add about a half a second to your time on pit road. And everybody says, a half a second, depending on the timing of it, could be a bit concerning and have an effect on your race strategy.
And they did a really good job on this pit layout and trying to just make it work. They did the best they can, but if they came in dead center of the pits, then they went left and right, and they came out dead center, it's pretty equal. But when you come in on the right side of the pits, and then you got to make that sharp corner, and the other guys could have more speed going to the left side, you're right. It's a bit of a disadvantage to be on that right-hand side.
Now, there's no doubt that both coming on to the pit lane and coming off of it, it is literally threading the needle. It's really tight.
Yeah, no, really tight. Matter of fact, it's one car at a time, period. I mean, you get a car and maybe, 1 foot on each side of you on entry and exit, and then on the exit you got cars up to speed. I mean, that's a short little merger to get onto the racetrack in turn 1, and if you come out at the same time there's a car up to speed on the track, it's going to be a lot of give and take.
Let's talk about your pole sitter, Colton Herta. He's been solid all weekend long, and a disastrous finish after a promising month at the Indianapolis 500. Goes into the month of May in the points lead, does not have it coming out, but is still very much in contention. And there's a little doubt, Davey, that Colton Herta, typically when he unloads fast, he stays fast, but boy, it'd be huge for him to get to victory lane for the first time in a while.
Yeah, we're watching him right now, trying to find some space to get those tires up to temperature. You can see it's a little damp out there right now for Colton, but you're right. He does some about these street courses, and I'm going to include this one in Long Beach and St. Pete. He really does well on them. He really figures these things out, knows how to take the car to the limit without going over it. But if you recall, if he's leading, he just checks out. But if he ever gets behind in a strategy situation, it could cause problems. He tries too hard at that point. We've seen that happen a couple times, but he's matured a lot. That car's fast. He has really good people surrounding him. That team, they're obviously behind him. And don't forget his teammate, Kyle Kirkwood, who's also very fast and is good on these kind of courses.
Biggest surprise of the weekend has to be Teo Porcher. Now that he's back in the car for Errol McLaren, he'll roll off in the inside of row number 4, and he's been among the fastest all weekend.
Yeah, I guess I shouldn't be surprised because he has so much experience in racing, and we know that he's good or he wouldn't be in that car. But to come here for the first time and be able to beat his teammates, which is Pato O'Ward and Rossi, that have been here before, I think it's pretty impressive.
So we mentioned Colton Herta's on pole, but a couple of Ganassi drivers in contention for a championship. Your championship leader, Alex Palou, always got to make you feel good when you're leading the points and you come into a race that you won a year ago. Scott Dixon with a solid run, too, on the inside of row number 3.
Yeah, Scott, I seen yesterday that this is 100th time that he's made the Fast 6. That's pretty darn impressive because it doesn't seem like we've been doing it for that many years to even have 100 opportunities to do it, but he gets it done.
Joseph Newgarden on the inside of row number 2. The news broke late yesterday. He's going to be with Team Penske for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, no surprise, right? I mean, I see Colton Herta went off down in turn 8, spun it around. He's back on track now. Don't want to make those mistakes during the race, that's for sure. But back to Joseph. I heard some rumblings a few months back that the team's really looking at him and really trying to get him and putting a lot of pressure. And I heard a lot of money to get him. But once he won that Indy 500 for the second time with Roger Penske, knows what a great organization that is. Obviously, he made a choice to stay right where he's at, stay comfortable, don't really take any risk on where you're going, and he's staying right put.
I guess if you're in a contract year and you're negotiating, you kind of solidify your position by winning the Indianapolis 500 for the second straight time, don't you?
And unfortunately, I never drove for Roger Penske, but I kind of heard through the grapevine, I know a lot of guys that have. If you win the 500, you're automatically on for the following year. And so they went beyond that, though. They went the next year and beyond 25. So it's good time to resign that.
And Will Power, Scott McLaughlin locked down there, so that roster's not going to change.
Yeah, I think that's a really good roster. I think that all three of them get the job done. It's hard to believe that Will Power, the all-time pole sitter that's been second 3 times in races and qualifying so far this year, I think just in qualifying actually so close, that not the weak link, because there is no weak links there, but he's had the least amount of success here lately, and that surprises me. I mean, when you got a guy that good, and he's had the least amount of success on your team, that's pretty amazing.
20 minutes remaining in this session. Kyle Kirkwood, Scott McLaughlin, Ray Hull, Dixon, and Armstrong, the top 5. Erickson, Robb, Rasmussen. Herta powered through 10th. 11th is Castro Nemes. Renus VK now jumps up to 10th and bumps Power to 11th. Speeds and times continue to pick up. Pato Award is 12th, then Elio, then Canapino. Now we'll go back to 15th. Linus Lundqvist, Santino Ferrucci, Felix Rosenquist, Roman Grosjean, Pietro Fittipaldi, Pelot, Newgarden, Rossi, Vautier, Harvey, Pourchaire. Kiffin Simpson is currently 26th fastest. Marcus Ericsson got to feel a bit better. I mean, the weekend got off to a rough start for him, Davey, after a disastrous month of May. And, all in all, pretty good qualifying effort for Marcus Ericsson inside of row 5.
Yeah, really, I think a really good, like I say, disastrous month of May. Obviously, that's a race he wouldn't do well at, but his focus right now is he's back in his comfort zone. This is the kind of tracks he likes, road and street courses over the ovals. There's no question about it. And he's back in the comfort zone now. It's like, just let's get results. I think he's out of the opportunity really to look at championship hopes at this point. So just continue to do what you're doing, finish these races, give it all you have, and as long as he does that, gives 100%, and that team sees that he's giving 100%, I think he's in good shape.
For those just joining us throughout the course of the weekend, let's give them some of the characteristics of this racetrack. We'll be up top of the parking garage to our right, going into turn number 1, high atop turn number 1, and plenty of manhole covers down there, some curbing to the inside, and that is just the first of many challenges that drivers face on this racetrack.
Yeah, no, many challenges, and we just seen a little replay yesterday of, a little scuffle between some of the Andretti drivers and a Foyt driver, and those don't need to happen. I mean, that was uncalled for, I'll say, and I put a blame there, but I'm not going to say what, no sense getting into the politics that already is done and over, but this track is so tight and so hard to pass. It's frustrating. It gets these drivers, to a boiling point. And you got to remember, hey, it's the same for everybody out there. Don't do to somebody you wouldn't want done unto yourself. That's the best way I can say it. Is if you don't want blocked, don't block somebody else, and just try to take care of each other, especially with this pit lane as narrow as it is, and how hard it is to get on and off, how hard it is to pass. As you watch Will Power right now, actually just being really aggressive. He looks good today. I think Will has a good opportunity.
Between 1 and 2, those are what I would call a rhythm, a momentum section of the racetrack, because you want to try to carry as much momentum as you can through there, because your reward is a back straight that is almost 3,700 feet long.
Back straightaway is so long. Matter of fact, the fun part of that back straightaway is it's the longest back straightaway, or straightaway I should say, that we go anywhere on. I mean, you are flat getting with it down on that straightaway, and like I said, what's hard to get used to there is it's busy. It's a street. It's during the week. It's cars on there. There's stoplights. There's a lot of things to try to distract you. So it takes you a little bit to get comfortable with that straightaway and know where the braking zone's in, or where that turn 3 left-hander is. But like I say, when it opens up down into turn 3, there's going to be some action down there. There's a great passing zone.
Pelot, Dixon, McLaughlin, Erickson, and Ray Hull, the top 5, and we are more than happy to have with us the chairman of this event, Bud Dinker, a good friend. And Bud, hey, congratulations on a job well done to this point. I know I talked to you a couple of days ago, and I was talking about what a great start you got off to, and you said, well, got 48 more hours to get right. So you're a little farther down that path now.
Yeah, well, thank you all for being here again. I think that what Davey was talking about, the action on this racetrack, I think we're going to see something special today. I think we had 180 passes last year on the track that people weren't sure could handle that many passing. I'm seeing a lot of runoffs here relative to turn 8, right? I think there's a lot of that going on here. The track got greener probably last night because of the rain, I would think. So we're going to put rubber down here in the practice today. But, I'm so grateful for the turnout here. The crowds are just incredible. so far this weekend. Remember, half of the circuit is open for free, being inclusive as we are in this circuit. But today we're going to see the best of the best perform relative to the what's going to happen on this racetrack, and I can't wait to see the action occurring in front of us here in about 3 or 4 hours.
Two things I think that we talked about back in May that you were very, very happy about was the commitment that area businesses have made to this event and the number that have jumped on board with this, and also the addition of the suites as opposed to what you had at Belle Isle. Those two things are huge for you. Well,
I think anybody who sees the suites over here to our left is just left with an incredible visual, right? It looks like a battleship as these suites are so large.
Yeah.
We had 23 chalet suites for our sponsors on Belle Isle. We have 73 here in that double-decker suite. 73, 50 more than we had. And guess what? Everyone is sold out. Our grandstand seats are sold out today. How about this view of these parking decks and all the people that are on every single floor? It looks like a stadium around us, doesn't it? And remember, I don't know, Dave, if this is true or not, it probably is the only dual pit lane we have on the circuit anywhere in the world,
I've
right?
never seen it in the world. That's why we were just talking about that pit lane, how creative you guys had to be, because you're obviously landlocked per se, and I think it's great. I mean, when we first heard about it, we thought, how's that going to work? And it does take some patience with the drivers, a little give and take, but man, last year was awesome.
Yeah, it was, and we had no issues. Well, interesting to see if we have a full course caution today and we have 15 or 16 cars come in. Well, we didn't have that last year. We saw maybe 8 or 9 at one time, but it worked yesterday really well in the sports car race. I think it'll work fine. As I've told the drivers, you guys are so smart, you'll figure it out. Of course, their response to me was, please, bud, don't let us figure it out.
That's right.
The backdrop here with the GM headquarters, I mean, really provides a great atmosphere.
It's like a facade. It's like you pull down a screen almost. It can't be real for how beautiful it looks at the end of our dual pit lane. And how about our new winner's circle that we created? Michael Montry, his idea, wanted to create kind of a Le Mans feel here. We saw it being celebrated yesterday. This is a pedestal above our pit lane that's about 30 feet off the ground, 15 feet off the ground perhaps. We're going to celebrate the winners there today in the Indy Next race, but also the INDYCAR race. So it's going to be a special day for us here, and I expect record crowds again today like we've seen it, and hopefully record action on the racetrack.
Moving forward, there's always a debrief when this event is over, and you and your entire team get together and figure out a way to improve upon that. And I know that after last year, you look for some improvements to the course itself and made those.
Well, I think we saw that. And, Dave, you're a racer, you know that. I think we improved our qualifying by almost a second or more than a second.
More than a second, a second 3/4 in the Indy Next.
So the reason why you see that is because, to your point, the feedback we got was we needed to fix turn 9, which is our last turn here, had a big dip. In fact, when we measured it was 3.5 inch dip. I call it Pato's paving because Pato had a shunt there last year, right? And we repaved it. Pato's paving now. We've redone that turn. That gives us a lot more speed. And most importantly, as you come to the end of the long straightaway here, 7/10 of a mile, we've got 1,000 feet of new asphalt from the apex back. And what that means is, Davey knows as anybody else, is you're going to have a better braking zone for overtaking today.
The
we heard that from the sports car guys yesterday.
And that is it just sets that turn 3 up. Tight hairpin, which makes it fun off the long straightaway, which we don't have that anywhere either. And that paving, the braking is so good right now, so that's faster and going to make it exciting.
Yeah, it will be. And that's where the speeds came from, I think you saw in qualifying.
Well, again, congratulations, and look forward to a great race day. Our thanks to Merrill Kane for kind of finding some room in your schedule so you could join us this morning. We know you're very, very busy, so we'll let you go. Get back to the task at hand, and thanks for all your hospitality.
Well,
we appreciate it.
Thanks for you guys being here and reporting on this great city of ours. This is our hometown. This is Chevrolet's hometown, and I'm agnostic because I be on the IndyCar series. I just want a safe and competitive race.
Yep. Yeah, that's right. Amen to that. Okay. So thank you very much, bud. Take care. That's the chairman. Chevrolet Detroit Grand Prix presented by Lear. Bud Dicker, a good friend. Happy to have him. But boy, it's just going to be an awesome day of racing here on the streets of Detroit to cap off an awesome weekend for sure. So we've got about 12 minutes remaining in this session, and Alex Palou is P1. Christian Lundgaard now, who's been fast all weekend, has come up to the second position. Colton Herta is third. Rossi is fourth. Pato Award is fifth. Canapino is sixth. Then Teo Porcher, Erickson, Rosenquist, and Rasmussen through the top 10. Then Dixon, Kirkwood, Robb, Ferrucci, and Rahal through 15th. McLaughlin, Fittipaldi, Simpson, VK, Lundquist through 20th. Then Power, Grosjean, Armstrong, Castro-Neves, Newgarden, Harvey, and Tristan Vautier. Nick Yeoman will be on the call in just a few moments to the Indy Next race this weekend. And Nick, getting back to the championship chase for those guys. guys. And going to be an interesting race to watch it unfold. Going to be some bad, fast cars at the lead of the field with Louis Foster on pole and Jacob Abel to his outside.
Yeah, both of those drivers have been very strong. They both visited victory lane already in this season, very early in with just 4 races, and they're going to factor in, I think, in the championship all season long. Interesting to watch their other championship counterpart, Nolan Siegel. He's got a little bit of work to do. Mark obviously trying to shake off what was an interesting month of May, a rookie experience for him missing out on the Indianapolis 500. Siegel's going to start 7th, so he's going to have to pass some cars. And I think there's some talent at the rear of the field that we got to keep an eye on as well, Mark. Reese Gold won here in thrilling fashion a year ago. He's going to start all the way back in 16th. Miles Rowe has been fast. He's trying to push a couple mistakes that he made yesterday in the rearview mirror. He's going to start in the 19th position. So it's going to be exciting. 45 laps around this place. Yesterday in qualifying, they obliterated the track record. 1.7 seconds faster from 2023 to 2024. And Louis Foster's been the guy that's been the tough one to beat all weekend long. He's going to be strong for Andretti Global, and I think we're looking forward to it.
I'm going to throw a name out there, and I hope I don't jinx it, but slowly but surely, I go back to Barber and the show that he put on there. I believe he fell out late in the race with a mistake, which they often do when they're young. I got a sneaking suspicion Kyle Collette could get a podium before the season's over.
Yeah, Kyle's a great story because he's a Brazilian who's kind of come over from the European ladder system, as so many do. He's not necessarily one of these road to Indy products, so he's learning these racetracks, Mark, and he's learning them pretty quickly, consistently up in the top 5. Got his first podium at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in race number 2. I think he's knocking on the door of getting a race win, and I think we can't count him out in the championship as well. I think you're right. That green and black car for HMD looks strong, and I think Kyle Collette starting 3rd's going to be one to watch. And also, Mark, a shout out to Jamie Chadwick. She's got pace again, starting on the outside of row number 2. I think Jamie's going to have a chance to get back on the podium. She was there at Indianapolis as well. So a lot of talent in this field, and I'm excited to see this race today.
9 minutes, 52 seconds remaining in this session, and I've been watching the teams apply their trade here on the monitor, this multi-screen monitor, Davey, and certainly guys are being a bit aggressive in trying to find maybe an extra passing zone or 2.
Yeah, well, and what's happening, the track is slowly drying out. They're getting ready to get rubber. As Bud just said, with that rain last night, it washed a lot of grip off this track, a lot of the rubber that was down. They're making it up, and they're gaining speed. They're in 103 area, or I'm sorry, 102.1. They're down pretty quick right now, but we were talking about how Porsche was the fastest out of the McLaren. Well, not anymore. He's in 8th. How about that? Pretty good still. But the Rossi in 7th. Pato Ward now leading this field right now. So they've came to life. Seems they found something in those cars. But there's some other ones that we just talked about that's had a tough month. Was Armstrong. He's the P3 right now, back where we talked about where he's comfortable. Lundgaard, you never can count him out anywhere anymore. I mean, he's just getting better and better with that Rahal camp. Seems like they have a little more speed coming as Newgarden jumps to the top. The one still surprising that doesn't have the speed yet is Rosenqvist. He's been so strong the entire year. I don't think he's qualified out of the top 5 anywhere, and he's just been really. He hasn't had all the finishes that they want, but they've been qualifying good. But he's finding a little more speed, I guess. He's in that 12th spot, but we're used to seeing him atop the charts.
Well, he's hoping for a reversal of fortunes, I think, because he normally qualifies so well, and maybe can't follow the finish up. So maybe if he qualifies a little deeper in the field, the finish might be better.
Let's say another one about that is Canapino. We talked about him. He's been top of the charts all weekend. It comes to qualifying, and he was not very good down towards the bottom. And he said, we can't figure out where the grip goes when it comes to qualifying. And they're just losing some there. So hopefully they're going to work on that because they've been qualified well. You can see as practices go and he gets comfortable, he's been at the top of the charts. Matter of fact, surprisingly, quite a ways ahead of his teammate most generally. And Grosjean, you see Canapino in that 10th spot, Grosjean in the 25th spot. Just not finding that space out there. They put Castro Neves in that extra Meyer-Shank car just to try to get leader circle points. Right now, he's at the bottom of the list at 27th right now. Not that quick, but you know what? That doesn't mean he can't finish well. And they're just trying to get him in that top 15 consistently and try to get back in leader circle to get that money at the end of the year.
Bud Dinker talked about the number of passes in last year's race, and you talked about how much faster the track is over last year. To that end, we talked a little bit about it on the way back to the hotel yesterday, me and Nick Yeoman and Michael Young, and a lot of the things you see in practice and especially qualifying with drivers on the ragged edge, typically, they'll wear out those runoff areas times. But, when it comes to racing, I won't say that they temper their enthusiasm and their effort, but they don't seem to make some of the same mistakes in the race that they make during qualifying.
Yeah, that's right.
We hope not.
That's right. Well, for example, there was somebody did their own little chart, and it said runoffs in practice was 55 so far before this practice session. There's been a lot in this practice. Runoffs in qualifying, there were 5.
Right.
And then the race, there's a question mark. We don't know yet. But it gets less as it gets more important and the stakes are out for the race. It's going to get less and less. But you can assure you somebody's going to find that runoff area. And matter of fact, I think Colton Herta has 3 or 4 just in this early practice session right here.
6.5 minutes now remaining under that, approaching the 6-minute mark. And again, don't forget, complete coverage of the Indy Next race comes up just a few moments after we sign off here. We'll take the air at 10:15 Eastern time, and then join us for flag-to-flag coverage of today's NTT IndyCar Series race. That'll take the air at noon Eastern. And don't have a lot of time before we get to green flag racing, just about a 40-minute pre-race show. And actor Judge Reinhold, who's a very the notable Hollywood actor, television and movies, going to be the recipient of a 2-seater.
Yeah, we're going to give him. He's going to be the fastest seat in sports. Going to pace the field when I'm driving. Actually, we shared a last name in one of the movies he was in. So it's pretty interesting. Going to be excited to meet him and give him the opportunity. Obviously, there's some new shows coming out they're promoting, and I'm going to give him a ride. He's going to help me pace the field for this IndyCar race.
So be listening for that. We'll have Jake Query out on course along with yours truly, and then we'll have Ryan Marine and Michael Young on pit road. Anybody jumping out to you?
Well, I want to say, hats off to one right now. How about Fittipaldi looking really good? He's in that 4th position right now. I think that he's getting faster and faster, getting more comfortable in that Rahal car. He has really good teammates. Actually, surprisingly, he's faster than his teammate Lundgaard. He's kind of leader of the pack, but let me tell you, it's Fittipaldi in 4th, Lundgaard in 7th, and Rahal in 9th right now. Running pretty darn good right now in that Rahal camp.
Stingray Robb goes into the runoff area down in turn number 1. And I will say of most of the runoff areas, that appears to be the one that's most forgiving. They have pretty good handle on it.
Turn 1 and turn 8 are the easiest ones. Any other one after that, it makes it a little difficult getting back out on the racetrack. But yeah, Robb just, he's actually running pretty good, finds himself in that 24th spot right now in this practice. But just trying to get the most out of it. And it's easy to do it. Turn 1, for whatever reason, that is the corner for myself, actually, that I feel like is the easiest one to overdrive, because you feel like the braking's a little bit better down there. As we just see another car go off right there. I think that is Porcher or maybe Prado. I can't tell from this angle. But it's a situation where you just feel like you can go in there deeper, but then it just doesn't have that grip on slowdown. As Bud said, when they fixed the entrance to turn 3, the braking zone was way better. Well, that would help turn 1, but right now it's character as well. I mean, it's not bad having certain areas like that. It brings a lot of character into it.
Let's go to Michael Young.
Yeah, we have very little radio chatter, which I find interesting as we see Teo Porcher in the runoff in turn number 1. But finally heard from Kyle Kirkwood, and his only comment to Brian Herta was that he has severe rear tire deg. So they're going to be at least a 2-stopper for this race today. So trying to figure out how to keep that tire deg from happening on that number 27 machine for Kyle Kirkwood.
Last couple of minutes of this session, have we been able to corral the 2 guys who probably get more steps in over the course of this weekend than anybody? First Bud Dinker, and now Jim Campbell, our good friend, is here. Jim, congratulations on just the atmosphere and everything associated with your organization being the fabulous title sponsor of this event.
Well, Mark and Davey, thanks for having me on, but welcome Detroit. This is our world headquarters here, and so it's great to have IndyCar here and really running this race around our hometown headquarters. Super special, and obviously, the fan support from the Detroit area has been fabulous. It's a little bit raining off and on, but the weather is actually quite good. And so I want to just invite all the fans that are in the Detroit area, come on down. This is going to be a great race here with the IndyCar Series, and looks like some of the Chevys kind of moved up the practice here with Newgarden, Award, McLaughlin. So let's see how it goes. Track position is going to be super important. What I love about the straightaway on Jefferson is they repaved, as you heard from Bud, repaved going into turn 3. going to be a great passing zone, and that turn 3 is where the action is going to be. I think one of the spots. But it's great to have you guys here in Detroit too.
Well, as an organization, you had to be all smiles after the 108th Indy 500. Pretty good month for you there.
It was a great month. We're fortunate. The teams, Eric Warren, Russell Blanis, Rob Buckner, all of our GM employees, along with our friends at Ilmore, worked hard in the off season, and it paid off. We had more power. We pressed it pretty hard during qualifying, as you know.
Yeah.
But we gave those guys enough power, and they did a great job. These teams were so talented, the drivers, and Joseph just did a great job. Pato O'Ward, he's going to win this thing one day. He's going to win it. He has just got the passion and the skill to get up there every year and vie for a win. So it's a great, it was a great Indy 500 for sure.
Back to this event, in addition to Chevrolet, Bud was telling us over 90 area businesses and corporations have invested in this event. That's got to make you feel proud to be the title sponsor and have all of the other support for the business community here in Detroit.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And many of those companies also do business with General Motors. Many of them are suppliers to, the way we build our cars, trucks, and crossovers, all our new EVs. And so it's great to have them part of this event. And then plus all the GM employees that work in the area, you're going to see thousands of them coming down cheering on the Chevrolet teams.
We know it's a busy day for you. Can't thank you enough for working us in this morning. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Davey.
Yep, Jim Campbell of GM Chevrolet. Thanks for being here. Congratulations again on a job well done. So about a minute to go, Davey. Still trying to get that car restarted.
Yeah, he just went in the runoff area. He spun it around, but just stalled it. No harm, no foul, didn't hit anything. So they'll get him fired back off. They put a red flag out because they were just a little close to the track, but Porcher got it running. He's going to spin around and go up right out of turn 1, as we continue to say, one of the most difficult corners on the circuit. Turn 1 and turn 8 seems to be getting all the action, but we got a few minutes. The clock's going to continue, Mark, so only 30 seconds left. I think once Porcher comes in, the session will be over.
Joseph Newgarden has gone to P1 late in the session, then Herta, O'Ward, McLaughlin, Fittipaldi, then Armstrong, Pillow, Dixon, Lundgaard, and Simpson the top 10, then Rahal, Rossi, VK, Porcher, and Canapino through 15th, Erickson, Rosenquist, Kirkwood, Grosjean, Lundquist through 20th, 21st Rasmussen, 22nd Power, 23rd Vautier, 24th Robb, 25th Ferrucci, 26th Harvey, 27th Castro Neves. Davey?
Yeah, well, we see Pato O'Ward going down that straightaway, and it's the first time, I took some laps around there, and I always say to driver's left. I'm glad I do, because he went to driver's right, and there's one area down there where he got all 4 tires off the ground. So got to remember, this is a city street. I mean, it's hard to keep them smooth. Now, this group, and as Bud mentioned, turn 3, getting in turn 3 is really nice. It's paved nice. We're going to watch the little onboard right here where he was. He actually is to driver's left, and then I think he must have went to driver's right. But anyways, that is O'Ward right there. But somewhere before the paving, he got all 4 tires off the ground. So that keeps it exciting, too. It's just character of the racetrack.
Well, we talked about that. Not only affects your grip, the ability to steer, right?
Yeah, when the tires are off the ground, grip level goes down tremendously.
But they keep steering it. That's the thing. Instinct tells them to keep turning the wheel. So, again, don't forget, coming up just a quarter past the hour, we'll have complete coverage of the Indy Next presented by Firestone. Then, of course, flag coverage of the NTT IndyCar Series race. The Chevrolet Detroit Grand Prix presented by Lear comes your way at 12 o'clock Eastern. So join us in just a few minutes from now. This is Mark Jane saying so long from Al from the Chevrolet Detroit Grand Prix presented by Lear.
Thanks, guys. What an opening warm-up session that was as well. And go Scotty Mack, says Beth. Hello, Beth. Going there. Scotty Mack P4 overall. But it's Joseph Newgarden who ends this one fastest. 102.046 in the warm session. So you can join us in 2 hours' time when we get going as well, wherever you are in the world. 2 hours from now, we'll be live with the Detroit Grand Prix. Thanks for your company. We'll see you soon as well for the race.